Hello. Happy Monday. I made it. Hi, Barbie. Hello, hello. I hope you guys had a good weekend. I hate Mondays. But hello. We are back with Nolan Wells case, and then we're gonna go right into back to Mackenzie. We are. We're gonna be doing a lot of Kenzie this week. So get ready for it. We're gonna be starting the transcripts. We don't really have like a legitimate update about the Nolan Wells case, but there has been stuff over the weekend that came out. We're gonna cover it. We're still waiting on autopsy results for Nolan Wells. Um, I think we can take what we see in here and read about with a grain of salt because we don't actually have the autopsy yet. And I think that'll provide a lot more information that we need. If you're not familiar with Nolan Wells, he's the high schooler. Well, he's in community college. I think was he 18? Um, he's drowned. Well, allegedly, they say he drowned. Yeah, he was 18 years old. In Mississippi on Horn Island, but of course, there's contradicting information out there. So, hello. Thank you for being here. Make sure you hit the like button. Please, please, please. Heavy on the grain of salt. Nothing is official yet. Exactly, Barbie. Nothing is official yet. And I'm wondering when those autopsy results will be back. I know the state of Mississippi, the state medical examiner was doing or did it complete an autopsy. I'm not clear on that. And I think they were pending tox results, but the family has done an independent, hired someone to do an independent autopsy. So that'll be interesting. And if those are completed or when they are, I'm wondering if we're going to hear about it right away or maybe not for a while they figure things out. So RIP Nolan Wells. I don't know how to feel about it yet. I would rather have documents in an autopsy before I form my official opinion. But as of right now, I do think something shady happened. I don't understand the whole thing about how they ended up with his phone and deleting things from his phone. And the mom judge that with one of the boys that is involved makes me a little uncomfortable, I think, after Karen Reed, lots of other cases, Kenzie's being one of them. We know how I feel about the Kenzie trial, and the investigation, but nonetheless, um, it's a shitty thing what happened here, and I don't wanna blame the friends, 100% yet, but it smells fishy. So what we're gonna do today is we're going to review a couple clips. We've been pretty much caught up on this. There's one clip from the parents speaking that we have not watched. And then there's a former Mississippi judge. Yeah, former Mississippi. I was gonna say, or maybe he's still practicing, but I don't know really the status, but he's a former Mississippi judge. And he's gonna talk a little bit about the situation. After this, we're gonna jump into a live about Bubba and the Mackenzie Shirley case. It's an interview I haven't seen before, so I want to review it. He does an interview with someone on TikTok. So bring your drinks. Let's go over there. We already know the Kenzie case is quite controversial. I promised you guys a members live this weekend. I didn't get to it. I was busy yesterday, but we will be doing it in the next few days. And then again, I am going to be reading Kenzie trial transcripts. We just read Bind Over, so definitely tune in if you're following along. We can agree to disagree about cases. Doesn't mean we have to be rude to each other or bully each other. I see Evie in here. Shout out to the mods that are here. Always stay supporting. They're not just my mods, they're my friends. I see Debbie in here. I see Laura, Christine popped in, Amber, Barbie, Homemade with Love. Peach, I see you. Moonshine Monday, yeah. Listen, during the Bubba interview, I will for sure have a few drinks myself. Hi, is there justice? I am not a professional lawyer. I'm not a professional anything other than being obsessed with true crime. So don't come here and judge me. I have to say this because I get a lot of shit in the comments like, "Oh my god, you're not a lawyer." And I'm like, "Dude, I never said I was." Like, so anyways, I have to put a little disclaimer out there. You know how it goes on these streets. They're rough, man. The views expressed in this video are my personal opinions and commentary based on publicly available information, media reports, and personal observations. Any statements regarding individuals, events, or organizations are intended for discussion, education, commentary, and entertainment purposes. With that being said, okay, let's get started. We're gonna watch a little clip. Um, we're gonna go through X too. There's a couple of X posts. I like to show both sides. I know. Oh no. Oh no. I'm not out here defending all the killers. But I do like to look at both sides. And so I like to see what people say on X and TikTok. Um, see what you guys are saying. Hey, J. Lou. Love it. Not Melly with the disclaimer. Yes, yes. I need to now. I'm new to this case, but I can't wait to hear the info you got, Melly. I found your channel with the read of Mackenzie Shirley Dom. Yeah, we're not done. We are not done with the Kenzie Shirley case. Everyone can think it's over, but there's a lot of shit that I have been involved in on the back end, and that I know. So we're gonna go there. At this point, if you want to be here, you want to be here. If you don't, you don't. But I'm gonna review everything, and we're gonna re-review a lot of stuff on that case again. And like I said, we're reading trial transcripts, so that'll probably take us a little bit. And we are gonna go through text messages. I have a little project. Yes, yes, you get homework here. We have a little project to go through with the text messages. Kind of hope your Kenzie case is never ending. It's not. It's not. Reading them from the index cards. Hey, everyone, not Melly. The disclaimer, being human. Yeah. Hey, creatively. Thanks for being here, Court Lurker. Melly, can we get Chris Cuomo on this case? Oh, I love Chris Cuomo. I'll behave. Okay, I'll fine. I'll behave. I had to go completely out and come again. Oh no, it's YouTube. Hey, Casey K, acting up. Kids be different these days. A lack of emotion and understanding. Ugh. We're gonna talk about that on the members only. I'd love to hear details. Be sure. Can't wait. Yeah. Okay. I was in the pool with kids all day, and I would say I think people underestimate how easy it is to drown. Listen, Melissa Hertz, shout out to you. You cannot get me in a body of water. You might have to pay me lots of money to do it in the first place. First of all, one time in science camp, or not science camp, science class, or science camp. That's actually funny that I did that. But what was I saying? Oh, there's like a bacteria that lives in the sand. And listen, I'm not into that. No, I don't want it to go and eat my brain. So I don't do water really. I'll go out there, get a nice little tan, but I'm naturally tan. So I don't really have to worry too much about tanning. I know, I'm being petty up here, but so anyways, I just like to take in the sun, the vitamin D, not that kind of vitamin D, but the actual sun. Vitamin D. I probably should just end the live. Girl, they had me diving for stuff at the bottom of the pool. I think today should be a party day. Mondays suck. So let's party it up. Now, speaking of UTS, you should do a guest spot on their channel. Oh yeah, I'm very familiar with the guys over at UTS. Shout out to UTS. We've been friends for quite a while. I just had DVS on here a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I don't know, but I might have another UTS guy on here soon too. I know. I think we should do something super fun too. Is it confirmed the pool photo was on the 4th, 5th? No, it's not confirmed. Love how you, yeah, that one time in science camp. Don't go to science camp with me. We'd be doing very bad things over there. Love how you go through these cases. Thank you. We are going to be resuming on Laura Owens. I've been working on a lot of stuff with Laura Owens. Probably tomorrow, the next day. Kenzie trial. We are going to be going over the Ohio 16 case. I have a list. And don't forget, Courtney Clenny next month, allegedly. and we are streaming that entire trial here. I have been obsessed with the Courtney Clenny case for a long time. Okay, I will shut up. People in UTS comments mad of your take on MS. Really? Really? I know. Let's talk about this in the members only, but I know. I'm seeing it a lot too. People talking about me. Ooh. Ooh. I guess I must be something important. Or maybe not. I don't know. Don't let my head get too big up here. Pause. I'll go into bodies of water, but if I can't see the bottom, it makes me think something is gonna grab me. Listen, there's snakes, poisonous fish, anacondas, sharks. I don't want to hurt any of the habitats that the animals have down there going through sea life. So I'm very much like, no, I won't do a cruise. Fuck no. And I would probably have to be drunk to jump into a body of water. And so that's not a very good decision to make. Yes, to members only. Yeah, we do have a members only coming up. So if you can become a member, that's a great way to support. Shout out to all the haters too. Don't get me started. Let's get through this case and then we can talk some shit on the Bubba interview.
So now to the latest on the mysterious death of Nolan Wells. For the first time since Wells' body was found, we're hearing from a friend of the 18-year-old who was with him on the day that he died. Trayston Shepard, who says that he was with Wells on the 4th of July, but declined to speak on camera because of the threats that he says he's been receiving.
We did no wrong here, and we don't understand how we're getting so much hate behind it. We all cared and loved Nolan, and nobody wanted to see Nolan die. Nobody wanted to see his life be taken so short.
All right, Kajachi, and also legal analyst and attorney Brian Buckmeyer join me now for more. So, Ike, what more are we learning about why Wells stayed behind and didn't go back to the mainland with his friends?
Yeah, Kira, this has really been at the center of everything. This question, why did Nolan Wells stay behind when everyone else decided to actually leave the island? Well, now we're hearing from someone who was there that day. His childhood friend, Trayston Shepard, said that the boat that they came on experienced an electrical issue and they had to go back to shore because of that. And he says Nolan told the group he wanted to stay behind because he met a girl and planned to catch a ride back on another friend's boat. Now, Shepard described this trip as one last hurrah before everyone scattered back to school and work after this holiday. There were about 300 people on that island that day. A lot of them were high school classmates. They knew each other and they wanted to.
And no one saw anything or heard anything. Nope. I don't buy that.
Spend this time as just one big party before everyone dispersed wherever they needed to go. But according to his friend, Trayston Shepard said that this wasn't anything sinister at all. It was an 18-year-old who wanted to have fun. But Kira, as we know, that 18-year-old Nolan Wells never made it back to shore.
Well, and Brian, Trayston also addressed the viral video investigators, I've been looking into, saying he's actually the one yelling, not Wells. How crucial is that?
Kira, I think it's very crucial in the sense of now we know who's yelling, why they were yelling, and according to Trayston, it had nothing to do with what Nolan Wells was doing. Instead, giving us a description that a stranger was kind of getting in his face and he was yelling at him. This closed down one avenue of investigation. And while that might be heartbreaking that it doesn't give us an answer, eliminating possibilities as to what happened will hopefully steer us in the right direction, finding the right reason as to why everything happened. And then going back to something that Ike said, I hope that with Trayston saying Wells was there talking to a girl, that we can get a description of that girl, what she was wearing, who she might be, and follow up on more questions.
So then, Brian, at this point of the investigation, it's the autopsy that I know we're all waiting to hear about, because that will definitely help us try to figure out what exactly happened, right?
Yes, the autopsy is probably the next step and probably the biggest step in determining what happened here. Autopsies do two things. It tells you the cause of death and the manner of death. It could be any number of things in terms of being a homicide, an accident. I don't believe it's going to be a natural death, but that determination is going to be important. But then also, of course, the cause. What caused Nolan Wells to die? Is it strictly the drowning? Was it something else? Is there blunt force trauma? That's going to give us a lot more answers and hopefully some questions that lead to the ultimate question and answer of what happened to Nolan Wells and how did he die.
Okay, so we're waiting for autopsy, which will reveal a lot of information. But also, here's my thing. I was thinking a lot about this case over the weekend. I know that they identify the deceased by many forms and ways, but I am questioning if they had to identify him by his teeth, like dental records. That kind of makes me think something else happened. He wasn't in the water for that long, right? What, like a day or two? I think. How long was Riley Strain in the water? And we saw Celeste Rivas Hernandez autopsy too, and how, um, decomp. How long was Riley Strain? Because people, I don't know how soon you can get to decomp in the water, but yeah, Riley was in the water for 14 days. So I really wouldn't be surprised if we saw a lot of water factors contributing to the decomposition or position that he was in. So why did they have to identify him by his dental records if there was no blunt force trauma, etc.? Maybe that's just the way they do it, amongst other things. But the island does take on water where, yeah, okay, I have to take notes because the picture that surfaced this weekend is of all the kids at a pool party. I'm going to show you guys a picture in a second. But there's a lot of controversy because it hasn't been confirmed that it's his, but the attorney has posted about it. So it makes me think that something's going on. He posted, I'll show you guys a post. They're saying that this could be after July 4th when he allegedly went missing and died. But a lot of people are saying that it was beforehand and that it's not related. But the attorney, Ben Crump, did post about it. I've been seeing a lot of stuff about him, like being a grifter and just chases cases that are high profile and likes money, etc. I can't knock Ben Crump. I don't really know him like that. I've known him not personally, first of all, but like I've just known him from cases like the George Floyd case, Breonna Taylor. So I don't really know. We don't do politics here, respectfully. But let's look at this picture of allegedly Nolan Wells at a pool party at, I believe, the judge's house. There was a post too that was revealed. We're gonna read it. I don't know what's true. I don't know what's not. So here is everyone. This is allegedly Nolan back here. I don't know if it looks like him. A lot of people are like, that's not him. A lot of people are like, that is him. And we're suspicious. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I mean, it looks like him. I don't know though. Like Alyssa Katz. He's got that salesman feel. Lots of animals do damage to bodies, unfortunately. Water completely destroyed. Really? I watch. Oh, okay. Cajun Navy said they use dental records no matter what. His shorts are different color though. I definitely feel like something is fishy. I don't know if they just do dental records. His swim trunks are not the same. Okay, so maybe it's not him. That's why I said this is just like what has surfaced. We have not, I don't think they've confirmed it, but the attorney has posted about it. So let's go look at all of that. Again, these are the friends that he was with. I'll show you guys really quick before we get to. It's sad. I would hate to think his friends had any involvement, but we've seen the other side of that as well. You know what I mean? Um, like, let's not forget, and I want to cover her case soon. Shanquella, that was a fucked up case, and that definitely was foul play, and someone did that to her clearly. So we've also seen friends cover up a lot of things, depending on what you believe in the Karen Reed case. There's that. Um, let's watch. Let's go over to X and see the post there, and then we'll watch the short clip of the family. Let me make sure I'm not doxing myself. I don't know. Yeah, I know. It's complicated. Pissed me off. Yeah, that case really pisses me off. I've had a live ready for that to go for a while, but we've been busy with everything else. So, but I will squeeze it in. This is why I keep my circle small. Nope, you cannot sit with us. But will unfortunately, unfortunate loss, yet another puzzle. The whole phone thing doesn't sit right with me. That's what I'm saying. I read up on everything I can find so far and really seems like it was probably an accidental drowning. Hmm. So there was a post that was dropped this weekend. I think it's been confirmed that maybe it wasn't real, but I thought we would read it anyways. It says, "Bro, no didn't get into a fight at the island. It was our other friend, No, and Wyatt did get into an altercation right after that, not even 10 minutes later, because Wyatt took his phone and Evan was trying to be hard. Nolan was definitely screaming, 'Give me my effing phone back, N word. What's wrong with you?' So they all calmed down. That's when we head to Evan's house because he was throwing a pool party. So, yes, Nono came back to the party, and yes, he was drinking. But Wyatt and Evan and Morgan and Andrew was really high, and I think they was trying to get Lucy and Natalia to try some as well. But yes, they got into it again at the pool party. It didn't end until almost 1 a.m. I know Evan's mom kicked us all out. Once they started fighting, it was Andrew and Evan and Wyatt and Warren, and basically recording and laughing, saying, 'Get him, get him.' And all I could hear was Nono screaming, 'Mom.' So yes, I tried helping. Then his mom come out screaming, yelling, drunk make us leave, and was saying she was going to call the cops on us if we didn't leave her house, but they didn't let Nono leave, and Nono was by the basketball goal that was inside the pool. He was leaning over besides it, gasping for air and spitting up blood. But now his mom, no, I just got off the phone with her. So that is a post that was posted by someone, I think anonymously. Um, Someone responded with, "Wow, I hope the truth will come to light and Nolan gets the justice he deserves." Someone says, "Man, my brother going to get justice. The truth is out. They took him back to the island that Monday morning around 4 a.m. They found him, I think, 8 or 9. I can show you the picture as well. I would tell you to go look at it, but Evan deleted the picture Sunday." So a lot of this stuff is like going around. Whether this is true or not, it's horrifying. So it's pretty dirty if someone's just making things up like that. Um, but nothing surprises me anymore. So there's a lot of AI too. That doesn't sound like AI though, by the way that they spelled and formed sentences, but respectfully. But I don't know. It could always be true too, you know. My thoughts exactly all this freedom mixed with immaturity, not good. It's a sandbar where he had friends with other boats. Nolan's best friend was riding back on another boat too. I think the photo's real, but Nolan's mom said the girl's not a friend of Nolan's and she didn't know her. She also said she never contacted her. It's sad that people make stuff up for no reason. Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of why I wanted to show it too, because not everything is always real. So you got to really make sure, you know, where you're reading and your stuff from. Well, let's just read a couple of posts about what they're saying. People on the internet. Nolan, well, you guys were asking about timestamps and wondering about Evan Stroud's post before he made page private. I made sure to include screen recording so you guys can see Evan did actually post those pictures on his actual page. 1 week ago from 7-Eleven would be 4th of July, correct? So I guess the pictures are real. Interesting. Here's this post. One of the friends posted this to his Instagram on July 5th before he deactivated his account. Notice anything? This is proof that Nolan made it off the island alive. They placed his body back on the island after something went down at that house. Funny how his body magically appeared back on the island after a massive search. The Coast Guard initially said there was no phone call that night. Then all of a sudden, he remembers that there was. Let's not forget that the friend's mom is a judge. It's giving, quote, your honor in real life. I haven't watched that, but I've seen a lot of comments on that. I guess Your Honor is like a show on Netflix. I'm assuming having to do with racism. I haven't watched it, so this was interesting. It says Dustin Smith and Nolan Wells' parents are friends. Look at the comment he left offering Nolan's memory. So I guess this is like on Facebook. I don't do Facebook. So if her husband is a duck, she's definitely quacking like one. And then someone said, "Did y'all happen to see the hanging of the Wells kids out there with like laughing emojis?" This comment says the guy was exposing the absolute absurdity of the online lynch mob. Activists are desperate to turn this in tragedy into racial execution, completely ignoring that these families have been lifelong friends. Okay. But you know what I have to say about that? If they were lifelong friends, why would they not turn in the phone to the family right away? Why would they have to track it to their house? That's what I don't like. Um, and what makes everyone suspicious. This is another post I saw. People are just trying to make this into another race war. We boat here, meet up with others on sandbar. Some people leave and some others don't. I've seen comments from the kids that go to school that pick pull part. Yeah, see, that's why. Is that a water circled in the back? Mm-hmm. What's the back circled? I don't know. I was thinking maybe drinks. Here, I can pull it up. Yeah, it's all the drinks. Because again, you guys have to think like whose boat was this? Who owns the boat legally? Who was buying alcohol? Because they're 18 years old. I'm sure there was older people, but if there was older people, like even more so the question of like how did this happen and how did nobody hear or see anything? So yeah, it's just all the alcohol in the background because they're saying if this is a judge's house, who bought the alcohol? Um, that looks like alcohol in the back. It's all drinks, yeah. Beer cans and White Claws and whatnot. It may not be racial, it may just be schmurder. But why schmurder him? Regarding race, maybe even if they were involved, it wasn't race motivated. It still doesn't change. It's Mississippi. And yes, I'd be nervous about him getting an unfair, biased investigation from authorities. I've heard that a lot. Okay, so this was interesting. Nolan Wells was lynched by those white boys, and their white families are trying to help them cover it up. Did y'all see this racist message from Wyatt's brother, and that Warren's judge mom has a Confederate flag in her office? The murder of Nolan Wells was anti-Black hate crime. This is like the stuff people are posting. So this is a creator too. I don't know who it is. Hannah Katana. No, so this says, I love you. Oh, well, I see you reposted this, so I just want to let you know what really happened. Can't be listening to all of the Black people saying his friends did something. He was with my brother that day on the boat and they chose to stay. They know who the girl is. It happens at Horn all the time. These guys were posting this shit on TikTok are all worthless Blacks who want nothing but views. Nolan has basically lived at my house for the last 3 years. We would never do anything to harm him. And then someone says, never said anything about y'all or anything, just reposted, wasn't even worrying about the racial stuff. It's all BS. Here's a statement released from the judge. Oh, I missed that. The old Mississippi flag. I don't know. I don't know if that means anything. I know. Social media can be brutal. I guess I missed this picture or this flag in the picture. Oops. It's like with Kenzie's picture, you know, the one where there's all the lean bottles in the background. We've been viewing these things for like a year straight and we always miss that. It's always nice to review things, but yeah, I guess. It's sad. It's sad. Let's see. Someone else says, oh, I think I have the statement from, or I thought I did. From the, I do. Let me drop this real quick. I want to read the statement that the mom initially gave, the judge mom. Okay, here we go. Let's read this together. It's on my phone, but I got it up here. So this says, our family, along with the community, grieves the loss of Nolan Wells. Our thoughts and prayers are with Nolan's family. Our son, redacted, loved Nolan dearly. Unfortunately, I feel that it is appropriate for our family to dispel some rumors with facts based upon the social media attention that is being diverted away from the Wells family and their loss. Listen, Miss Judge, why are you even involved, and why are you giving a public statement before, like, the authorities do, Miss Judge? You seem to want to, this gives me very much the vibes of like she's trying to control the narrative, but I don't want to seem too harsh just quite yet. But I'm like, are you involved? Were you there? Was it your house? If so, we have questions. But I could see her just trying to protect her son as well. But if she's a judge, I don't see why she would get involved. Regarding like conflict of interest anyways. But yes, I deactivated my Facebook, she says, given the very heightened emotional state of social media right now. I fear the safety of my child and my children. My husband and I have 6 children and we covet their privacy. We do not believe it is appropriate for our minor children's photographs to be circulated through the internet, presenting potential threats to their safety. Well, I think your son was 18. So according to everyone in the Kenzie Shirla case, if your brain automatically, the day you turn 18, your brain slips out of your eardrum onto the floor and you get a whole new one, is what everyone thinks too with Kenzie case. But yes, I believe they were 18, if you're catching my drift. My husband, that didn't happen to me, by the way. We do not believe it is appropriate. Okay, I graduated high school with redacted. We are from the same community. I have the utmost respect for her and all of the Wells family. We mourn the loss of Nolan with them. Our prayers have been and will continue to be with them. What I mean by that quote is just because you're 18 doesn't mean you're automatically a grown adult. My husband and I were not at Horn Island at any point on July 4th. Thank you for you commenting and giving your input on this. No one in our family is trying to in any way impede with the investigation by law enforcement or to otherwise hamper the family and law enforcement's quest for answers. Redacted was interviewed by the Jackson County Sheriff's Department and cooperated fully. He saw Nolan last at around 3 on July 4th. They left around 4:30 p.m. when the boat was taking on water and they had an issue with the bilge pump. I don't know what the hell that is. Nolan made a decision to stay on the island and return inland later with another group of friends. Yes, I am a judge. I also value transparency. I apologize if anyone was offended that I deleted my social media. There were no nefarious motivations in my deleting my social media. Social media has a lot of positives, but a whole lot of negatives. We live in a world of clickbaiting. Sad but true. My family is hopeful that this information will help redirect the attention to the Wells family, their grief, and their need for our community support. I feel like, are you defending something or someone? Yeah. I can see her doing this if the boys really didn't do anything. Any mom would be upset with everything being said, but if they are also guilty, I could see her doing this as well as part of her cover up. I want to understand why, hi Shamina, why things were deleted from the phone if that's true. Yeah, me too. And like, really, you guys, I was thinking about it and this morning and I was like, okay, when would I not have my phone on me? Like, honestly, like that's rare. And I know a lot of us are glued to our phones for many different reasons, whether it's work, personal, whatever it is you're doing, feet pics, I don't know, whatever it is. I don't judge you. But come on now, we're in 2026. Everyone has their phone on there. I mean, I even tell my friends that like lose their phone. I'm like, what do you mean you lost your phone? Like, this isn't, what do you mean you lost your phone inside your house or anywhere else for that matter? Let's see what this other post is. Nolan Wells' mother requests that photos and videos from Horton Island on July 4th be sent to local authorities and her legal team. So it says, if you have any information or videos regarding our son Nolan from July 4th, please contact local authorities. This was interesting. And to all the bots and white folks who say, oh, Nolan Wells drowned, guess what, buddy? It's still murder. Y'all wrote the damn laws. And there's a Google image. Let's read this. It says, yes, if you purposely abandon someone at sea and they drown, you can be charged with murder. The law of the sea places heavy responsibility on boat operators. If you cause a situation where someone falls into the water, or if you are a commercial captain/crew with a legal duty to protect passengers, failing to act or intentionally leaving them behind makes you criminally liable. Key maritime laws and principles apply. Seaman's Manslaughter Act. This federal law imposes strict criminal liability on maritime captains, officers, or vessel operators if a death occurs. I don't know how big the boat was. I guess that would be interesting. Oh, I did want to read you guys this article. Hold on, let me pull it up. I don't know why it closed. That law or whatever that post was actually brings me to another case that I do want to touch base on really quick because it's kind of similar. And I do think that if someone deleted stuff off their phone, that should be tampering with evidence, regardless of whether your mom's a judge or not. Like, that's shady. That's evidence. Why was stuff deleted from his phone? Okay. So am I lagging or am I good? Because it's kind of showing me I'm lagging a little bit. I'll read into the article in a second. Let's finish these posts. This one says, whoa, so this kid's murdered Nolan Wells by beating him to death. The police don't suspect foul play. What's wrong with their law enforcement down there in SIP? Evidence. Oh, into the SIP? What is that? SIP? is that short for Mississippi? Evidence being missed and not taken. No arrests have been made. This is all too much to take in, says a feller ex-poster. This one says Nolan Well's mother breaks her silence, calling out those making jokes about her son's death. This is beyond disgusting. Yeah, that's not cool. She posted, for those of you making light or joking about my son's death, I pray you never have to go through this pain. However, if you are ever in the situation or similar, I pray people give you grace. I pray that people will not joke about you losing your loved one. I saw the comment of two people that I went to high school with, and it was absolutely disgusting. I'll pray for you. Losing my son is not a joke. Ma'am, if people you went to high school with are saying those kinds of things, and no offense, but I'm kind of questioning, like, why are you still friends with them online? Or maybe not. But that's terrible. I don't condone any of that. Yes, the SIP equals Mississippi, I do believe. Never been, I wouldn't know. Sorry. You buffered for a sec, but yeah, exactly. Yeah, I deleted old screenshots or messages that would piss me off. So I wonder, read it over and over, got mad, but I don't delete anything from anyone's phone. It can have that meaning everywhere. Understand the history of it. You can't erase the history of something. It can have good and bad meanings. It's important to acknowledge both. I agree. Phone can't go in pocket. On the water drinking, you're holding a drink and you typically need your other hand for something. Yeah, I'm still listen. I have paid my dues, okay? When it comes to drinking and being reckless. That's why I can empathize with Kenzie in a lot of ways. But I've always had my phone on me, even if I was the girl dancing on the bar. Like, if it wasn't on me, it was in my pants or in my right here, like on my like in my bra, I guess. I don't know. But you're right. Not everyone does have their phone on them. Not everyone is like me. So I do acknowledge that. I know. I know. Like 2015 Melly. Nolan Wells deserves the same media attention that Gabby Petito got. I thought that was an interesting post too. RIP Gabby Petito. Let me. Why did my. Sorry, it just kicked me out of the saved post that I had. Let me go back. Okay, here we go. I guess there's a petition. I didn't know that. Ashley Cole, a sitting Mississippi chancellor judge, publicly commented on the Nolan Wells investigation while identifying herself as a judge. I believe the public deserves an independent review of whether that conduct complied with the Mississippi Code of Judicial Conduct. No judge should be above judicial ethics. If you believe accountability matters, sign and share. We do. We do think it matters here. Me too, Melly, but we never unalived two peeps in a fit of rage. Well, I have a lot to say about that. But you're right. Maybe we can talk more about that on the members only for Kenzie. There's another post here. Nolan Wells spent the 4th of July partying and later ended up dead. And now these screenshots are making people ask even more questions. One screenshot appears to describe arguments, drinking, fighting, someone gasping for air and coughing up blood. Another appears to show the pool party where people online are trying to identify who was there. If these screenshots are authentic, investigators should thoroughly examine the timeline, interview everyone present, and determine exactly what happened. Family deserves answers, not rumors. And I agree with that completely. Sorry, let me fix my absolutely. So I'm sure they'll find out who made that post too. This is with Crump acknowledging, it says Attorney Crump posted on Instagram as of 5 hours ago that a picture surfaced of Nolan Wells on the mainland at a pool party and at the house of one of the white privileged youths who claimed that they left Nolan on the island and never saw him again. So Crump says in his post, Nolan Wells investigation update. The streets are talking. Now listen. I don't know if these are facts or rumors because no official statements have been confirmed. We sometimes have to follow all clues until the truth is found. Here's what is here's what was discovered on social media last night. Social media allegations claim a photo exists of Nolan at a land-based pool party in Jackson County before 1 a.m. on July 5th. So if that is true and that's him, then clearly something happened and they moved the body and or I don't know, right? Or no. Um Here's another post. The photo was posted on July 5th, allegedly not sure where it was removed. A lot of back and forth when it actually was taken. This says two things I really would like to know. Why does it look like Nolan Wells made it to a pool party after he was on Horn Island on July 4th? Not good. Not good. Too many peeps, too many tell stories from a bunch of scared underage kids and a freaking judge ruling over the whole narrative. That's info to keep quiet. The whole judge thing is weird. Whatever's driving the boat has a phone, but the rest of us leave ours on land. Less chance of getting the water wet, getting the phone wet, or falling into the water. I feel like that story is BS. Like, why tell the public before an investigator? True. True. Well, it seems he's getting it. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Let's go into a short clip of the parents speaking again. This one says the weirdest thing about this Nolan Wells tragedy is that the father had to use their coach's boat to go back and look for his son. Nolan's friends' parents never offered their boat to help the Wells family go look. That's also pretty suspicious. And I heard there's allegedly something about a boat being cleaned at 3 a.m. at the judge's house. I need to see like paperwork on that or the authorities or someone other than just, online. Because if so, why are you cleaning your boat at 3 a.m.? That seems suspicious. Let's just keep it real. Thank you. You lost to a girl for becoming a member. I appreciate you. We will be doing a members only this week, so that'll be good. When we go out to the boat, we put our phones in a compartment because there's no service. We get to the island, we're most likely in the water. I do think he would get his phone before they left. Interesting. Wasn't there problems with the boat? Why they had to take it back? Yeah, but I guess would you be cleaning it and trying to fix it at 3 a.m. and not wait till the next day? I don't know. I don't have a boat, clearly. But if someone wants to buy me one, no one cleans their boat at 3 a.m. I sure as hell wouldn't be. Actually, I don't know. It depends, I guess, what's there. Nolan Wells, this is another post. Nolan Wells' body required dental records for identification. Yeah, there are lots of bull sharks in the Mississippi Sound, but police are honing in specifically on a physical altercation they believed occurred. He was only 18. Oh, I have to sneeze. I grew up in the South Mississippi. This is sadly not shocking to me. What is surprising is how little is being done about it given the national media attention. The things small towns in the South get away with would keep you up at night. It's harder for them to know that these stories are getting out, but that's not enough to change a culture so that these horrific things don't happen to begin with. If anyone was on Horn Island July 4th, please contact police. Oh, I thought this post by Rodney. Why didn't Nolan Wells take his phone with him? I dumbed it down for you. Wasn't hard to figure out. Maybe his friends did something shady. Only time will tell. So it says they're here. Okay, he circles it in red. And then it says from Horn Island on July 4th, where you can hear arguing. Okay. And then this teens drinking on the island, chest deep water, plus phone equals bad, phone on the boat. Yeah, I get what he's saying, but chest deep water? Yeah. No, man. No, ma'am. I do not want that. That's scary. Um, Someone says here, why did he delete Nolan's chats and pictures? He's acting guilty of murder. They're talking about the friend Evan, I think. This says if they were Nolan's friends, as in a statement written by the mother of the one that loved him, why haven't we heard one word coming out of their mouth after their 18-year-old washed up dead? Why? Well, I mean, obviously we know why, because they lawyered up, which I thought was suspicious. I'm not against getting a lawyer, trust me. But I don't know. Would I get a lawyer if I thought I was innocent? Would you? Would you? Let, be honest, let me know. Yeah, if a current hits you chest deep, you have zero chance. Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna reserve my opinion until talk screening and autopsy report come back. Yeah, that's what I've kind of been doing. I'm like, okay, these are just posts we're sharing. This is all allegedly. I want to wait for the actual police reports or the lawyer to say something or the autopsy report. But this is just heavy on what people are saying online. This says Nolan Wells was murdered. Someone here says no. Lily says Nolan Wells accidentally drowned, and you can take that to the bank. So differing opinions there. Nolan Wells update. Ben Crump mentioned that there may be a photo of Nolan Wells around 1 a.m. on July 5th at a pool party. They haven't confirmed if the photo is legitimate. Either way, the friends are still lying. Sorry if you guys can hear my AC in the back. It just went on. A friend of Nolan's Wells, speaking exclusively to ABC, offers details that contradict attorney Ben Crump's characterization that race may have been involved in his death. One thing I'm confused about in the Nolan Wells case, if he was catching a ride with another group of friends, why did they call the mom saying he was missing the night of the 4th? What triggered that? They had his phone, so they wouldn't be able to get a hold of him anyways. That is actually interesting. Yeah, they had his phone. Because remember, the Nolan's mom says that they had to track it on Life 360 and that it was at a friend's house. Someone else says Nolan Wells drowned because he was drinking and a weak swimmer. End of fucking story. Okay, so we know how Bella feels. For same person, the darker skin tone could be explained away by lighting bright sun versus nighttime at a pool. Height would be easier if we knew the people around him and their height. Nolan Wells was 6'1". We need a timestamp. You remember that the series called on Netflix Your Honor, when the judge helped his son cover up a murder? That reminds me of the Nolan Wells story of how a judge is helping cover up a murder. She must have not seen it because it didn't end up well for them. I guess I'm gonna have to watch that show. Let me know if you've watched it and what you think of it. Lawyering up isn't the problem for me, though. It's a lot of different things, and not giving the people the family and deleting stuff is strange. I'd only get immediately an attorney if an incident happened on my boat or my passengers. Exactly. It's like with the Kendall Fall and Mackenzie case. It's like, hello, honor of the house, where the fuck are you? Someone just basically almost died in there. I think that is an important factor. Let's watch this short interview of the parents on Ronald Martin's channel. Never heard of him, but it's a couple minutes long, so I thought we'd get into it since we've been keeping up on everything.
Also, the attorney, Ben Crump. I'm glad to have all three of you here. Certainly, our condolences go out to you, Christine and Elmore, on the loss of your son.
Thank you.
I want to be clear in terms of trying to understand this timeline. What time did Nolan go out with his friends? What time did they go out boating on July 4th?
So that was sometime in the morning. I don't have the exact time, I do still have his information up on the Life 360, but it was earlier in the morning on July the 4th.
So, and so he said, hey, July 4th, we're going out for the day boating. Was this something that he had previously done with his group of friends?
Yes, it was. And there was no issues. And my son came home.
So, did he indicate for you what time they're going to be coming back?
No, like his dad has stated in multiple interviews, it was his last hurrah before reporting back to school. So we were just, going to let him have that time to really just decompress because, football can be a lot on you. Especially too, he was a student athlete. So he wasn't just, doing one thing. He was having to manage both.
So the evening arrives. All of a sudden, it's getting darker. You have not heard back from your son. What then happened? What time did you and your husband begin to get concerned when you had not heard from or seen Nolan?
So honestly, we got concerned when we got the phone call. There have been times when Nolan has come in later because he and his friends are, watching movies or again at some type of party. So, that wasn't necessarily uncommon. But when I saw his friend call me, my heart dropped because I knew something was wrong. His friends do not call me like that.
What time? What time was that?
That was around. That was, I think, 11:07 is when he called. And he said,
he leaves that morning.
Mm-hmm. So he left the evening before. So him and his friends had all stayed the night at one of the other friends' house.
Okay, so July 4th was that Saturday. So they stayed the night with some friends on Friday. So y'all last saw Nolan on Friday, and then he goes out with them on Saturday. You learn 11:07 p.m. on Saturday. Then you get this phone call. We've heard about them having his cell phone. When did they turn over his cell phone to you and your husband?
So they actually gave the cell phone to my friend. Whenever I got the call that Nolan was missing, I was like, you know what, let me call my friend Tashima because her sons, Jalen and Javon, Nolan actually, those are the guys he actually grew up with, right? Like from playing City League on up. We were very familiar with Jalen and Javon and their mom, again, they're friends of ours. And so I called her and I was like, hey, have you seen Nolan? Can you ask the boys? Have they talked to him? And she was like, you know what? And the boys, of course, they were like, no. So they're pulling up their location tracker on Snapchat.
I think that's what I don't understand either, Shamina. The friend said he went missing at 4 p.m. That's, I believe, the last time they saw him. But that's even more suspicious because it's like, well, from 4 p.m. to 11, how did does nobody know anything? Did nobody look for him? Anything? Anyone out there on Horny Island?
Chat because they all follow each other. And
it's not funny because he did lose his life, but you know what I mean. I'm too confused. I'm too focused on to drink. I have to be able to set the hook. Common sense. Hi, Extreme Creator. Oh, good to see you, love. Well, he was supposed to play college ball as well. Yeah, I know.
They, were able to help him. I'm pulling mine up on Life 360. So between the two, we were able to determine where his phone was, which is not where his car was. So the car and the phone were in two separate locations. Elmore and I were trying to, after we got off the phone with Tashima, because she was like, hey, look, don't worry about it. I'll go get it. we went ahead and started calling authorities to see who we needed to file the missing persons report with.
And when you got the phone,
Elmore, I have. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ben. Go ahead.
You asked about the phone. It was important when they got the phone.
Mm-hmm. So it took a while. It took a little bit before the phone was handed over to my friend. And then we did meet up. And of course, you know, we met up soon after. We filed the police report finally. And then she was on her way back towards Ocean Springs. So we met up at the second house to pick the car up, which is where he stayed overnight.
The only thing I was going to point out was...
Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
The only thing I was going to point out that is very important, we believe, some of the Snapchat messages seem to have been deleted and some text messages seem to have been deleted. And we believe that could prove very relevant.
Elmore, I've raised 6 nieces.
Yeah, there is a whole Snapchat thing and things being deleted. I'm curious what was deleted. So, of course, we're waiting for autopsy. We would like Celebrate or whoever does those reports get into his iCloud. Like, you know how they got the text messages from like the Karen Reed case and Kenzie's case, and they got into her Snapchat and TikToks and all of that. I would love to see what that uncovers. I wonder if they can recover it, though. That's a whole nother thing, too. Hopefully. I bet you it probably can't be recovered is what we're going to get.
And first got the nieces when they were as early as a year and a half and raised them all the way through. They were, even now, my twin nieces, and they're 22 years old. I don't know many kids today who they're never without these. And did that cause you suspicion that, and when you think about your son, was his phone always with him? Was he always on his phone? Was he always using his phone?
Yes.
You talked about, Christine, you talked about the life tracker. I would assume, just like my nieces, his hand was attached to the phone.
Yes.
All the time.
His hand was attached to his phone all the time. His hand and his phone was always in my face messing with me. So he wouldn't go nowhere without his phone. He wouldn't give someone else his phone and go off a whole nother way. It's just...
I'm not trying to be mean, but I saw a comment that I didn't share on X because it was a little mean, but I'll share it now, I guess, what it said. It was like the parents, and everyone grieves differently, but like people were questioning the parents' behavior. Not that I think they had anything to do with it. This is just what I saw on X. And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if that means anything. Like, people grieve differently, I guess. I wonder if Crump reached out to the parents or vice versa. Let me know what you guys
It wasn't in his character. We didn't raise him like that. For him to not stay with the people that he came with, we taught him that, like, if you go with someone, you stay with them. You go with them, you leave with them. You don't go off. You don't go off. You don't.
I think people kind of expect them to be like upset and crying and maybe more of that on camera, but one, maybe they're just trying to keep it together for the camera. Two, we're not them, but I did see a lot of posts about that as well.
From the group chasing a girl. There's girls back where you at. There's girls everywhere. So she's not the only one. You can find another girl. So I constantly drilled in his head to always stay with the group, always just be mindful of your surroundings. And you know,
all of the kids, really.
I constantly had those conversations with him until it's like he got, and I could tell he was getting tired of Dad, you're nagging, but I kept saying, son, one day you're gonna thank me for me nagging you like this, because you're gonna say, you know, Dad was right. And when that day comes, I want you to pick that same phone up and call me and tell me I'm right. Mm-hmm. So let's say it's just hard for us to believe that he would choose to stay on the island without any kind of forced communication.
And see, that's the thing that jumps out at me. Again, knowing how young folks are today, if he says, okay, I'm gonna go with somebody else, they don't leave this. They don't, like, that's no, hey, be sure, give me my bag, make sure I have my phone, and being, that's what immediately jumps out, that he's separated from his phone. It takes so long for his parents to be notified. And then when you said it appears as if some items have been deleted, obviously people don't realize text messages cannot be deleted permanently. Have you already communicated with the cell phone company to be able to pull those records?
Yes, we are reaching out to experts to try to not only retrieve the deleted Snapchats, but the deleted messages, because we know on the video rolling that's been circulating all around the internet, we know there was some kind of argument where you heard Nolan saying, "Give me my freaking phone. What are you freaking doing?" And then for him to not come back, but his three friends who were in the boat with him all come back with his phone, and he comes back a couple of days later on the shore dead. It doesn't add up, and it makes it hard for the sheriff to say, well, there's no foul play that we found. Well, that's foul play there. When you're talking about an argument over a phone, and then they take his phone and leave him on an island, it makes you scratch your head and say, this isn't adding up.
Have you, Christine, and first, have y'all had any, did you have any conversations, any discussions with these, and was it 3 young men?
Yeah, I've seen them upset in interviews too. And I think they did amazing with going out of the state to do autopsy. I think that was a great idea on their
Who
behalf.
went with your son, or was it more?
I think I'm pretty sure there were probably more present. 3 of them have reached out. And I know, and I've been sitting here kind of trying to go through all the facts and everything, because again, we're still grieving.
Thank you, Court Lurker. This poor family, my heart goes out to them. Yeah, I know. It's terrible. Thank you for the super. And then thank you, KCK. Oh, I didn't see that. Let me look at my notifications. Oh, I appreciate you, Casey. You're so kind. Thank you. And hey, Criminal Turtle.
Like it hasn't even been that long since our son, 4 days since he's been found. But I think maybe two or 3 parents have reached out. And I'm just, I'm in a mindset right now where I'm trying to protect my family. I'm trying to protect my peace, make sure my husband's okay. And it's a lot, because social media is just so nasty with what this pain that we're going through. Like, they think it's a joke, and it's horrible. And I pray that they never have to go through anything like this.
Well said.
Unfortunately, and Ben knows this, I've had to interview far too many of his clients. I always say this is a fraternity or sorority that no one wants to be a member of.
Absolutely.
What is so difficult here, again, is sort of like there's this fog, if you will, when you said that they've reached out. The only explanation given was that, and did it come from his friends that he just decided to stay? That was it? They didn't convey anything else?
Yes, that was it. They said that that he wanted to stay and hang out with this girl named Katie. And also, and this was the initial conversation, me being alerted to him being missing. It was, oh, well, Katie's also missing, but we don't know who she is. Like, that was our first time kind of seeing her type of thing. So then when I'm going to social media,
wow,
I'm coming from a place with information that was given to me by people that were there.
Ben, and you mentioned the video circulating. There appeared to be a lot of boats in that area, and they were shooting video. In terms of this investigation, are you troubled by the lack of urgency that you're hearing from this sheriff, who's just sort of being somewhat nonchalant about what took place with Nolan Wells 4 days ago, or 6 days ago, if you will?
Yeah, Roland, we're very concerned because from the very beginning, his response was that, well, we don't think it was foul play. Well, how do you know? You haven't even investigated anything. And that video certainly makes you think that there's something that doesn't pass the smell test. And the fact that you have the young lady who said that Nolan said he was going to get back on the boat with the boys. And then the boys said, no, Nolan told them that he was going to stay with the girl. Which one is it? Somebody must not be telling the truth.
Oh.
And again, we cannot overstate it enough. What 18-year-old teenager says, I'm going to stay behind on the island and don't ask for their cell phone?
Well, especially when you look at the map that shows the distance this island from from where they came from. I do want to ask Christine, her husband, is here. So the photos that we've been showing, were those photos taken on that day, or was it a previous boating trip?
We think on that day.
That was taken on that day, specifically the one with all three of them. Whenever I had made the post asking for information, there was a young girl who reached out to me and she said, hey, Miss Christine, I know that in the report it's stating that he had black shorts on, but she was like, he actually had blue shorts.
Okay. So if that's true and he had blue shorts on, that matches the picture in the pool. Interesting.
And those are two very different colors. Like, you can't get those two confused. And so what she did is she's like, I'm going to send you these pictures to show you. So, I could use to show everybody, like, this is actually the color of the shorts he was wearing. Because she was concerned too
So they had sent those photos to her, or had they?
No, these are pictures that she took. No, she took the pictures.
Okay, so she was.
Yeah, she took those herself and she sent them to me.
She was out there.
Yeah, she was out there.
Got it. Obviously, it has been 4 days since your son's body was found. 7 days since you last saw him. Are you?
Yeah, that's true. The photo on the boat and in the pool both show blue shorts. Yeah, no, we're not trying to justify their feelings. I'm just giving you guys information on what's out there. I think that they're just trying to stay strong and trying to get like a fair investigation here. Fair, quotes I say, because it's fair. But anyways, you know what I mean? Everyone's grieving process is different. Absolutely. Are you, Barbie? I would be upset too, trying to find out what happened to my son. For sure. Very sad.
You
It really reminds me of Riley Strain. I've been thinking a lot about Riley Strain as we've been covering this case.
Are you concerned with the pace of this investigation? I would also ask Ben. I mean, do you believe? I mean, initial reports saying that the young men have been questioned. No one obviously has been taken into custody. Any thoughts and concerns about that? The pace of this investigation. That here we are, is 4 days later, and there still are so many unanswered basic questions.
Yeah, I know the family is very concerned. That's why they wanted an independent autopsy done, Roland Martin. And so the body was flown from Mississippi to Washington, D.C. because.
Yeah, Extreme says I would need a horse tranquilizer. I'm not even a parent other than 2 little fur babies. So I don't know. You guys can speak more on that. I'm trying to be mindful of that. Also in the Kenzie case, it's like, I'm not a parent. I have no reason to judge the Shirillas or the Russos, but if we're going to judge one, why not? Why? It's fair game. But anyways, let's get into that conversation here. But I'm not a parent, so I have to remember that. But I know my mom would be freaking out. As an aspiring criminal defense attorney, always get a lawyer, even if you're innocent. Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I think lawyers are very important. And I have a few on speed dial, so.
They want to have a doctor do an exam of his body that had no connections, no influence from the law officials in the state of Mississippi, because it's inescapable that, Roland, had the roles been reversed and you had 3 young black men and a young white man on a boat, and the white man dies or is killed, you will see a completely different investigation, Roland Martin. I mean, especially, and you got his cell phone, and you back on the island, and you leave him on the island. I mean, it's so many things that says you all are not doing a zealous investigation on behalf of the family of Nolan Wells. We want the same kind of investigation that you would have did if the roles were reversed for a young white man for our son too.
Absolutely.
Elmore, it has to be. I listened to you as you talked about your son felt like you were badgering him when all those questions, and the reality is, fathers and mothers desperately want to protect their children, want to provide them with as much cover as possible. And so, as you think about those many conversations, you absolutely believe that you gave your son so much information that you don't believe for a second that he would decide on a whim just to make some crazy decision and just go off with some other people he had no idea.
I have something to say about that, just because, yeah, even if his parents told him, or the phone, we get it. Some of us are glued to it. But I most definitely am. But things happen, and we're teenagers. At the time, teenagers at the time, things seem so easy. I know for me they did. I always got a lot of advice from my parents, and I was still out of control, wild, rebel, all of the above. I really even never thought I would make it to the age that I'm at, because I for sure thought something bad would have happened just because of how I chose to live my life as a young teenager and adult. I was a party girl, so there's that. But and I don't regret it. Other than worrying my parents, I have fulfilled my lifetime goals of that era: bottle girl, clubs, bars, house parties, pool parties, nighttime pool parties. You never think things can happen to you as a teen. Exactly.
I didn't know who they were at all.
I believe, like, I gave my son, like I said, enough information to not do that. He had too much at stake. He had a plan for his life. He knew what he wanted to do. He knew what he had to do coming up that following Monday, which was get down to business so he can get on with his life and get his future started. So for someone to tell me that Nolan decided to stay on the island to chase a girl, I do not believe you. No one is going to get me to believe that, not one bit.
But if it's his last hurrah, like, why wouldn't he want to go hard and party that last day? You know what I mean? I get his dad knows him better and knows the type of person he raised, but also, like, I can see it go both ways. Calista Cat says the problem is a dark history of Mississippi, and the things that happen in the present day make you question everything.
No, I can't believe that.
Very true.
Because he wasn't raised like that. I had him super focused on what he wanted to do. He was finally buying into what I was talking about as far as sports and business and really taking it serious and understanding that if he wanted it, he had to put in the work.
Just a couple of questions left. Christine, you talked about how nasty folks are on social media. It has to be extremely painful and difficult for you and your husband to see people who you don't know, who don't know you, who don't know your son, question you allowing him to be around white teens, questioning how you raised your son.
What I would say to that is the amount of love and support that we've received from our local community, people outside of our community is, and even his friends, it's a testament to his character. It's a testament to us as parents. And this is the thing, I would never, and my husband the same, we would never tell our child, any of our children, you are not allowed to associate with this person over here because of the color of their skin or because this person over here is purple. Absolutely not. And just the way Nolan's heart was, he was a friend to everybody. Like he was just, his heart was that big. So like, I don't care because at the end of the day, I know we did everything we could as parents, raised our children as best as we could. We have always told them to be kind, caring, and respectful to others, no matter who they were. And that's the way we were raised. So if anyone has an issue with that, then that seems like that's a you problem, not a us problem.
Ben, final question for you. Have you gotten any indication? First of all, Ben, who's leading this investigation? Is it the sheriff or is it the Mississippi Bureau of Investigation?
I think at this time it's still the sheriff because the sheriff is the one who's making the statements. The sheriff in Jackson County, Mississippi.
Do you want to see the MBI take this over?
I want to see somebody lead the investigation who's going to do so zealously. We are in a ferocious search for the truth. I mean, with every day that goes by, that makes it a little more daunting, a little more challenging. So time is of the essence. I mean, we don't want not one more sleepless night to go by just because they don't have answers. We know they're never going to have peace because, you know, they baby, as they talked about, bought their family so much peace. And so there's a void in their hearts and in their families forever. But let's at least give them the transparency that they deserve. As Christine said, any parent any parent, black, white, brown, or red, you would want answers. If somebody came to you and said, we went out with him, we left him, and now he's dead. No, we got to get answers, Roland Martin. We must get answers.
Christine Elmore Wansley, again, our condolences go out to you. Is absolutely.
I agree. Someone in the chat says someone knows something. I agree. And I believe what's done in the dark will come to light, but we need to see those autopsies. I'm really curious if there was like some kind of blunt force trauma, other rugs. I wouldn't stop pursuing answers. Allowing him to hang with white teens, no way. Imagine if someone white said that. You know, I know racism is like a whole thing. I actually experienced that growing up in middle school and high school, living in a predominantly back then, not racist, but I don't know what to call it. I experienced a lot of that, and I'm Latina, so I can't imagine. I'm in no way okay with it. Clearly, I think everyone's human. And it just, I don't want to I know we don't want to make it about race, but it's like it kind of is. And then I don't know anything about Mississippi, but we're going to learn from hearing about this judge who is a former Mississippi judge. We're going to listen to a little bit. Ferocious search for punishment. See something, say something. Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, I feel like somebody knows something, and that just sucks, that they're not coming forward with that information. I get it, like being afraid of the law and the justice system or the police, but when it comes to someone's life and the safety of others and whatnot, or the death of someone, I think people should speak up, but I guess it is what it is. Let's listen to this former Mississippi judge. It's not very long, but he does give some good information. Don't watch all of it.
Allegedly would leave him on a remote island.
And this is from the Hype channel.
A former Mississippi judge is now speaking up and highlighting some key issues he sees with the case. According to former judge, now attorney Carlos Moore, who served in a municipal court in Mississippi for a little over 6 years, someone should have been arrested by now for several different reasons. Moore, who would end up being pushed from the bench after previously speaking out against racial discrimination on social media while serving as a judge, would take to his Facebook page on Friday night for over 30 minutes to air out questionable behavior he sees with how local officials are handling the case from the inside.
It's time out for playing games. It's time to know the truth from someone well-versed in it that has actual experience. I've worn the robe, the black robe, and I've presided over these trials or preliminary hearings, arraignments, and initial appearances. Let's get started. So what do we know? We know after watching the parents' interview and reviewing tons of footage from social media, recounting interviews and statements of alleged witnesses that were on Horn Island, we know that Nolan Wells went to spend the night on July the 3rd with his so-called friends. And he went with those so-called friends to Horn Island on a boat on July the 4th. We know that out of the 4 people on that boat, 1 did not return home. That 1 person was Nolan Wells. The other 3 returned home as normal and said nothing to any member of law enforcement or to the Coast Guard until at least 11 p.m. at night on July the 4th. We know that at least one of the so-called friends was found with the phone of Nolan Wells. And we know this based on the testimony of the parents, specifically the mother, who tracked the phone and was led to the home of one of the young men where she retrieved the phone. We also know that based on the mother's testimony that there were no Snapchats from the day, which was very odd for her son. We also know that text messages were deleted. We know
Okay, so it was text and the snap? I thought it was just snap messages.
that when she was tracking the phone, Life 360 said the phone was one place and Snapchat said it was another place. We know that the boy that had the phone did not voluntarily turn it over or call first. He had to be found through their own investigation. We know that based on witnesses' account, the so-called friends were seen on July the 5th, that Sunday, having breakfast together like nothing had happened. They were not out there searching for their so-called friend. We know that the so-called friends deleted their social media, deactivated their accounts, and scrubbed it clean if the allegations are correct.
I guess I didn't consider that part too of whether they were searching or not. And when he said, oh, they were out there having breakfast rather than searching. Yeah, I agree, Alexa. The friends not contacting the family at all when they got home is suspicious and awful. I agree.
We know that the young man that had the car at his house did not willingly turn over the keys. At first, he said that he did not have the keys. He didn't know where they were. Then he, after being pressed by the father, he finally turned over the keys. This is all very suspicious activity. We know that based on an audio recording and some video that Nolan Wells can be heard saying, give me my freaking keys. Excuse me, give me my freaking phone. And there's been two different versions. Some say he said, give me my freaking phone, or some say he said, give me my MF phone. Regardless, he was asking or demanding his phone. Someone had his phone who did not have permission to have his phone. So the first thing I see, the simplest thing I see is who had his phone and why? And was that theft of the phone?
I agree, Cree. Cree said it's hard to be unbiased knowing all of that. Them deactivating their social media accounts is shady. Yeah, I agree. It's like 50-50. I agree. It's shady. Why would you do that? But also, like, the amount of hate or shit they were probably getting. So was a pull pick from that night? We don't know. We don't know yet.
Sometimes we look at the largest case, we try to get to murder, but
I think it's Nolan. Clearly, if it wasn't, the family would have came out and said it. So I think they're determining when that picture is from, along with the autopsy and toxicology.
The person that took his phone committed a crime right there. There are witnesses to who took that phone. If an affidavit is signed, an arrest warrant could be signed by a judge in Mississippi to go after that person that had that phone unlawfully. We know, based on his own words, Nolan Wells' words while he was alive, he did not give whoever had that phone permission to have that phone. So Was that theft? I think if an affidavit is signed, if it was presented to me when I was a judge, I would have signed an arrest warrant for the person for theft of that phone based on what I've heard. It'd have to be an affidavit format, but if it was presented to me in affidavit format from law enforcement, I would sign the arrest warrant for, at least at this point, theft of the man's phone. We know who had it. We know who didn't report it to the family. The family had to go find it. And we know that Nolan Wells said, give it back to him. And evidently it was not given back to him. Why was that?
That's interesting. If the whole phone or altercation thing comes out to be absolutely true and it was Nolan and they weren't giving him his phone, I wonder how long after all of that things precipitated in the part of where he goes missing or last seen.
All of the other things.
But it's easy to get in altercations, right? When everyone's partying, drinking, having drinks on a boat, on the water.
I've stated, you piece it together. Is there enough right now?
But it's not normal for someone to go missing, correct? I do understand, yeah.
For arrest warrants for murder? That is a good question. I do know at this point, there should have been search warrants signed by a judge. Evidence should have been presented to a judge by now. We are nearly 7 days after July the 4th, when he was first reported missing.
If no one got anything to hide, yeah, why aren't those subpoenas or whatever orders to go through people's phone and stuff? Why haven't they been placed? And if they have nothing to hide, then they shouldn't be worried about it. By they, I mean the other friends that possibly involved.
There should have been evidence submitted by Jackson County law enforcement agents, the sheriff's department specifically, presented to a judge so that search warrants could be signed by the judge. And there needs to be, or should have been, someone questioning the young men, the three so-called friends, and others, and the social media accounts need to be searched by now, or at least a search warrant should have been issued for the appropriate entities to give the law enforcement access to the social media information. That should have been done by now. I'm not telling you what I imagine. I'm telling you what the process usually is when you're trying to do a thorough investigation. And based on what's revealed from a thorough investigation, I do believe once the evidence is secured, it's going to lead, and it should lead, to the arrest of one or more individuals for the murder of Nolan Wells. All of the actions are very suspicious, and right now they lead one to believe that one or more persons could have been involved with the death of Nolan Wells. Right now, we have a lot of unsworn testimony, but once that is put into affidavit format and there is corroborating evidence through social media, computers, or otherwise, I believe that at that point, there will be enough evidence for a judge to sign an arrest warrant. I think critical evidence that's missing right now are the results of the autopsy, the state's autopsy and the independent autopsy. That's going to be critical information. And that alone, or that in connect.
I get the whole shutdown though. Are you, Barbie? I know. I see what you said. Oh, it was Calissa Katz. And Are You, Barbie said something too about the phone. Arrest somebody for something and the fear will cripple them and they'll start to fold. In my opinion, their attorneys probably told the other families to shut down their social media. Yeah, I could see that too. I really could.
With what's already known may be enough to lead to an arrest or arrest. We do know at this point, low-hanging fruit, there should be an investigation about the underage drinking, who provided the alcohol. Those individuals could be immediately arrested based on if there was any sworn testimony presented to a judge. I believe a judge could immediately sign an arrest warrant for those who provided the alcohol to underage individuals. There's a lot of people and a lot of potential crimes, some misdemeanors and felonies that people could be held accountable for. Was there any boating while intoxicated? Who was the captain of the boat? And what did he allow on his boat? If there were any illegal drugs possessed by anyone, drugs are still illegal in Mississippi, at least they were when I was on the bench. Drug possession, drug use, selling of drugs, dealing drugs, trafficking drugs. We've heard testimony, or allegations at least. I don't think anything's been put in affidavit format yet about rampant drug use among certain individuals.
I'm taking it. I don't know the politics behind the state, but I know that marijuana is still illegal in Mississippi. Not that that's the only rug, but I mean, I could see why people would be scared. You know what I mean?
So there are a lot of things that's been alleged. Once put into the correct format, affidavit-wise, it could lead to arrest for several things, including misdemeanors and maybe even felonies. So there's a lot left to do. We are not rushing to judgment, but I just thought I would come on here and tell you that there definitely should be search warrants issued by now. And there could be arrest warrants for certain crimes issued by now. But for the ultimate crime of murder, it is probably wise to wait to see what the autopsy reveals, or both autopsies reveal, and then parcel that together with all the video footage, all the witness statements taken, any affidavits gathered, and then make a decision, get it all to a judge at that point for a judge to decide whether or not to sign a warrant for the arrest of one or more individuals. It would be very interesting to see what the autopsy shows. There's also the potential for kidnapping. It needs to be looked at whether or not they can get to murder. Was there kidnapping? Was this young man taken somewhere against his will at any point? Was there abuse of a corpse even after he died? So there's a lot of things that need to be looked at from various law enforcement perspectives. Law enforcement has to do their job and get the information to a judge in the right format before a judge can act. Had I still been on the bench, if I wanted to act, I could not act unilaterally. I would have to wait till law enforcement brought me the evidence in the right format before I could sign an arrest warrant, before I could sign a search warrant. And so that's how the process works.
So yeah, I guess it depends on the investigation from the local police. Yeah, I guess if they like moved his body or something from one area to another, off the boat, on the boat, I think is what he's referring to.
That's how the process works. And so I am happy to be a retired judge. I'm always going to shoot it to you straight with no chaser. Straight with no chaser. I will tell you the God honest truth. I can tell you this one thing. I may have been born at night, but I was not born last night. And one thing about it, you cannot fool the informed. I've been on the inside. I know the process. And we will not sit quietly and allow this to be swept under the rug. I will call your hand. I will call your hand. You're not going to play these people for a fool. You are not going to play these people for a fool. We know the process. We know what you should be doing. And by God, I plan to make sure you do it, or we're going to call you out each and every time. There is a process. What I do know is, had the roles been reversed, by now, there would likely have been already arrests made. It would.
He seems to know how that court runs. Thank you for the super, Melissa. Yeah.
Have taken all 6 days, 7 days, whatever the amount of days it's going to take. Had the roles been reversed, justice, the wheels of justice spin quickly. Somebody would have been arrested for something by now. But since the roles are what they are, we are expected to be patient, and they're going to cross every T and they're going to dot every I in the investigation before they make a move because of the people that are potentially involved. And that's the way the criminal justice system works, unfortunately. If you have access to power or money, in some instances, if you're the right color.
Ooh, he's kind of hitting on the spot with other cases as well, if you know what I'm talking about.
Right hue, you will get the benefit of the doubt. And regardless of all of that, based on what I've heard, not in the affidavits I've seen, if the affidavits come to support what I've heard, I do believe, especially with the autopsy, once that is in, and then if we look at the body to see if there were any bruises or anything else, it should lead to the arrest of one or more individuals for murder, for accessory to murder, for conspiracy to commit murder.
So he's seen the affidavit. Where is it? We need to get our hands on it ASAP. If he's speaking like this and already read the affidavit, and it sounds like he assumes others were involved clearly, but we don't know that for sure yet.
Aggravated assault, kidnapping, and a list of other possible things. But right now, I could say that based on that video evidence of him demanding his phone back, someone could immediately be arrested for theft, wrongful conversion of his property. And once you make that first arrest, you start putting pressure on people. It becomes very serious at that point. No one wants their loved ones sitting behind bars, even jail bars, definitely not prison bars. So it becomes very serious at that point. And there are persons of interest that should have been interviewed by now, should have been questioned, picked up, and taken to the station, even if they didn't voluntarily go. There are certain people that should be classified as suspects by now. They should.
Oh, this guy is good. Yes, Calissa Katz. Although the smaller towns in Mississippi are worse, you better have family there or longtime friends. Law enforcement is corrupt and an old boys club. Yeah, I feel some type of way about all of that.
Not just be persons of interest, they should be actual suspects. I do not agree with the sheriff saying right now foul play is not suspected. He should have said right now it is too early to tell one way or the other if he was going to say anything and try to be fair and impartial. Because all of this suspicious stuff, the suspicion and the actions of the individuals themselves lead you to believe that something is awry. And the stories are not adding up. The stories are not adding up. So if you believed that he stayed with a young lady, why were you calling the Coast Guard at 11 p.m. at night on July the 4th? And why did the Coast Guard somehow forget that and then remember it? And
that part.
It's just very strange. And why would you lawyer up before there is even a body found? If my best friend died by drowning accidentally, the last thing I'm going to be doing is hiring a lawyer. I'm going to be too busy grieving my friend's accidental death.
And hired a lawyer before his body was found. He said not in affidavits. Oh, we still need that though.
And I would not, in my wildest imagination, ever think that anyone would suspect me of a crime. Accidents happen all of the time. All of the time. And one thing about it, if I had been there when he drowned, I would probably been so exhausted from trying to save him that I wouldn't have time to think about hiring a lawyer or time for my parents to think about hiring a lawyer. And if I am recalling things correctly, I do believe that one of those young people's parents went out to the island. Now, this is a bunch of young folks. I believe one of the mothers got on Facebook and said she went to the island at some point. Why was she there? What was she doing? She was not in their age group. I don't know too many parents that go to a teenage gathering or a young person's gathering. What was she doing? I'm curious to know. I'm not even on the bench anymore, but I'm very curious to know what she was out there doing and who she may have been coaching.
Who she may have been coaching. Yeah, what was Mama Judge doing out there? Was it her? He's spelling tea in a very respectful way. Yeah, I like him too.
Or what she may have been an accessory to. It's very odd that she was out there, because I'm sure she was not on the guest list.
No.
When I tell you I'm tired, it's because I am. It's time for us to have the knowledge. I got my law degree in 2002. So you're looking at somebody that has nearly a quarter of a century of experience in the legal realm. I spent 6.5 years on the bench. I am not going to mislead you, because too many of us have gone along to get along for too long. I have to meet my makers face in peace. Wow. I have to look myself in the mirror. I'm not going to betray you. Enough is enough is enough. I know no one wants to see their loved one go to prison or be held accountable. But if the shoe fits, you might as well get ready to wear it.
I say all the time on TikTok, if the shoe fits, oh boy.
No one is above the law.
No.
And if you can't do your job because you're friends with certain people, you need to recuse yourself.
I kind of feel this way about the Kenzie case and conflicts of interest.
Recuse yourself and let somebody that can do their job correctly do it. I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone may have about the process or anything I just said. There is a criminal justice process, and I know how things should go. And when they don't go as they should, you have to ask yourself why. Again, I'm Judge Carlos Moore. I've been coming to you live from Atlanta, Georgia. I've been living here now nearly 3 years, but Mississippi is home. The Gulf Coast is home. I know several members of the Wells family and the Wansley family, and again, they have my deepest condolences for their loss. It's tragic. Tragic folks that you trusted your loved one to spend time with. Left an island without having the decency to account for your son. That's sad. I can't imagine the level of pain. And I've heard some people say that the Department of Justice, Civil Rights Division should come in and investigate, or the FBI, MBI, who actually has jurisdiction to do this. Those are good questions. We may need more assistance besides local law enforcement to get down to the bottom of this. If there's anyone that's truly willing to live up to the oath they took, they swore as a law enforcement officer, as a judge, if you're willing to live up to that oath and be unbiased and do a true investigation and consider the facts fairly, please step up.
Ooh, I feel like he's talking to somebody.
If you can't do the job fairly, please step aside. This is too serious. You have too many educated people watching this case now, and we're not going to let you get away with murder, potentially with no one being held accountable. We're not going to do it. Whoever did something untoward needs to be held accountable, needs to go before a jury of their peers, and need to let that jury of their peers decide their guilt or innocence. The standards for an arrest warrant is simple, probable cause to believe a crime has been committed. The judge has to have probable cause, more likely than not, that a crime has been committed for an arrest warrant to be signed. It's not beyond a reasonable doubt. It's probable cause, more likely than not. That's a very low burden to meet. And the evidence needs to get to a judge pretty soon. We know that won't be the end all, just because there will be an arrest at some point. I do believe it's still going to be a long process. The local judge, the municipal judge, as I was, will have to do the arraignment and decide whether or not the individual or individuals get bail and what that bail amount will be. If it's a capital offense, or if it's a first-degree murder charge or manslaughter charge, or whatever it may be, kidnapping, aggravated assault, that the judge will have to set bail or decide or deny it. Will the persons be flight risk? All that has to be taken into consideration. From there will be a preliminary hearing, likely, where the evidence will be presented to that local judge, who will get to decide whether or not to bind it over to a grand jury or to dismiss the charge. Once it's bound over to a grand jury, it'll be up to the grand jury to decide what to actually indict the individuals for. And then once there is an indictment or indictments are secured, individuals will have to stand trial, or if they plead not guilty, to get to stand trial. Otherwise, if they plead guilty, it could go immediately to sentencing. You would expect, based on what I've seen so far, that there won't be any guilty pleas automatically, and this probably will go to trial. You have contradicting stories. You have Katie that's saying one thing. You have the young man that's saying another. I see Katie has not lawyered up, from what I have been told, and she's been speaking freely, and her family's been speaking freely. Whereas I understand that some others have decided not to speak to the press and have lawyered up. And people are entitled in this country. You are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. There's nothing wrong with lawyering up. In fact, if it was my family, I would advise my family to remain quiet too. That's what lawyers do. We advise them to remain quiet. They have a right to remain quiet. And a lot of times you remain quiet for good reason, because anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. But people also have a right to be suspicious of why individuals lawyered up so fast. Why are they not talking? This is serious. It's serious business. People's potential freedom are on the line, and somebody has lost their life. Someone has lost their life. At least the people that's alive still have a fighting chance. You never know what a jury in Mississippi will do. We do know that no one ever was held accountable for Emmett Till's murder, despite the evidence, the overwhelming evidence. No one was ever held accountable. I can only hope and pray that in 2026, 2027, should the facts be presented to a jury of peers, that it'll be given reasonable consideration, and that if the facts are proven beyond a reasonable doubt, that the individuals that may soon be arrested and tried for the death, for their role in the death of Nolan Wells, will be held accountable. That's all we can hope and pray for, and we will have to live with whatever the jury's verdict is, because in this country, if you go through the entire process, we live with the verdict of the jury. And it has to be a unanimous verdict, and they get to decide guilt or an acquittal. And if they cannot agree, it's a hung jury, and the prosecution gets to decide if they try the case again. They can continue to try it again until they get a unanimous decision one way or the other. So it's going to be a long road ahead. Keep the Wells and Wansley's family in your prayers.
Yeah, long road ahead is right. He did a very well job. What? Very well job. A very good job. Carlos Moore, who is now running for Congress. I did want to, before we end, I wanted to make you guys familiar of a case out of Lake Ray Hubbard cover-up. This was brought to my attention because it's eerily somewhat similar, but it says family demands murder charges after arrest. The family of 18-year-old Daniel Irving, who tragically drowned in Lake Ray Hubbard, speaks out. This comes right after police arrested a teenager who says they tampered with evidence. Interesting. So the people in Nolan's case who tampered with evidence should be on the same boat. Ideally. Daniel Irving's family is demanding murder charges against 19-year-old Lucas Roper, rejecting the current charge of tampering with physical evidence. The family's legal team disputes the accidental drowning narrative, noting that Irving was a skilled high school swim team member who was left at the bottom of the lake for 4 days while the suspects lived their lives. The family blasted police for a 3-month delay in making an arrest and is urging Dallas County District Attorney to take the case to grand jury for homicide. The backstory. According to court documents, the investigation stems from April 13th incident when Irving, Roper, and a 16-year-old juvenile went fishing and swimming at the lake before jumping from a bridge into the water. Investigators say Irving, an honor roll student and a member of his high school swim team, drowned shortly after jumping. His body was recovered by emergency teams 4 days later. Rather than calling the police for help, police say Roper launched an extensive effort to hide the tragedy because he panicked and did not want to get into trouble. According to an arrest affidavit, Roper admitted to investigators that he and the juvenile threw Irving's clothes into a nearby brush. Roper also allegedly deleted the call logs and text messages from Irving's cell phone, ordered the juvenile to toss the device out of a moving vehicle's window, and fled the area. The two suspects let Daniel sit at the bottom of Lake Ray Hubbard for 4 days, says attorney Sean Dorado, who has been retained by the family to conduct an independent investigation. They went to school. They lived their lives. If it's an accident, why hide the clothes? Why flee the sea? Why toss Irving's cell phone off the car? Which I can say, why delete Nolan's Snapchat and or text messages, if that's accurate. Speakers at the briefing lambasted law enforcement for what they described as a 3-month delay in making arrests, despite having interviewed the suspects within days of Irving's disappearance. Because Irving was a skilled, healthy swimmer who was comfortable in the water, the family's legal team insists the narrative of an accidental drowning does not add up. We won't accept tampering charges, Dorado said, urging the Dallas County District Attorney's Office to take the case to grand jury for homicide charges. Take the case, take the facts, take the evidence to a grand jury, and bring the appropriate charges. And that's from today, that post. So a case somewhat similar in terms of, deleted evidence, et cetera, et cetera. That is the case of Daniel Irving. Wild. I think that's it for Nolan case until we hopefully get the autopsy or some kind of police paperwork. Yes, please do hit the like button before you leave. RIP Nolan. I hope they figure out what exactly happened to him and he gets justice. And if it was an accident, it was an accident. If it wasn't, I hope things get done right. Not as hopeful after Karen Reed, but that's just one case out of many that we cover here. So shout out to you guys for being here. I am going to grab some drinks, get some food, and I will see you guys shortly. We have a Bubba interview that I have not seen. We're going to review and discuss, and we can discuss Kenzie Shirla case as a whole at that live. So shout out to you guys for being here. RIP Nolan Wells. My condolences go out to his family. I hope the truth comes out. And like I said, we will be going over lots of Kenzie content still for those of you who have stuck around. I appreciate you guys. Definitely please make sure you hit the like button. Shout out to all the replay viewers and everyone who supported today. I appreciate you guys. I will see you later for Bubba Live. Bye.